Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Nat Chats. This is where I talk to you about the messy middle of leadership, business, and life. This is not just my polished success stories, but this is the real stuff that I'm navigating along the way in my business and leadership journey. And what I really want to talk to you today about is rest and recovery. Because if I'm being really honest with you, I have a really bad habit of not recovering, and I have a feeling a lot of you do too. So, recovering and rest isn't just about taking breaks or having a really good night's sleep, which is so important. But when I'm talking about recovering, it's about how do we actually do it in a way that refuels us and resets our energy so that we can stay excited, curious, and engaged in our work and really energized. Because if you're really anything like me, you've probably had moments where you're like, listen, I will rest and recover, but it's going to be after this big project ends. Or, okay, I will take the time for myself, but it's going to have to be after this month. Or if you could even be saying right now, okay, listen, next year will be my chance. I will recover and really rest then. And suddenly it's months of running on fumes, and you don't even know what actual rest or recovery feels like anymore, even when you get a chance to do it. And here's what's really made me think about this a lot is over the past few weeks, I've been traveling for work, and then I've been working on some really intense major projects. I've been sitting in a lot of meetings. And what's really awesome is it's actually really amazing what I'm doing. I'm feeling completely lit up by my work. I'm seeing the results, some of the things that I've been dreaming about doing and working towards since I started my business. But here's the thing, last week, what I really started to notice is that I've been in such full work mode and I haven't given myself the opportunity to really rest or reset. And so I've been noticing that I was starting to hit a wall. I was feeling really exhausted. And when I would start to sit down to rest or get away from work, my brain just like would not shut off. And I would be thinking about all of the emails that I needed to respond to and how I should be trying to dig out of my email. I was thinking about the next projects that I needed to complete, the tasks that were unfinished, meetings that I needed to have, right? All of the things that we're all kind of working towards all the time. And I could really feel that stress continue to build up in my body. And I was feeling just so exhausted. And so while I was in Tahoe for work, I had a conversation with a friend that I've been really thinking about a lot. And he had asked me, what's your recovery routine? And I love when people ask me those types of questions because it always gets me to think. And what he was really asking was about my post workout recovery routine. And the problem was I realized that I didn't really have an answer for either how I was recovering from my heavy workout days or these really heavy work weeks, months, or years. I've been working so hard to get my business to the exact place that I'm in that I hadn't built out a really good recovery routine yet. So, of course, I sleep, I take breaks, I have fun, but it made me think, was I actually recovering? Am I actually recovering in a way that is refueling me? Or was I just kind of collapsing between work sprints and calling that rest? So that question really continued to stick with me because what I know is that burnout doesn't come from working too much or only come from that. It comes from when we don't recover enough. And here's what I'll tell you is I refuse to burn out when everything is getting so dang good. So, here's what I know helps me recover and turn off some of that mental noise that starts to get me into kind of that burnout mode. So, here's what I know I have to do. I have to celebrate what I've accomplished. I have to play and have fun. I have to connect with people outside of my work, and I have to get outside and I have to move my body. So my default thinking is a lot of the times that to do all of those things, I need a whole weekend away. And that's how I'm going to reset and recover, which helps. But what research tells us is that if we can build in a recovery routine into our normal routine, our normal lives, it's way better for us. And that you don't have to wait until you have the time or the money to get away. Sometimes all you need is a quick 10 minutes to reset. Yay, that's awesome. So here's what having these recovery routines in place, and here's what all of the research kind of says that they really do for us, which is really good. So celebration, like I talked about, is really important because your brain needs to register that win. And what I didn't realize is that if we don't pause to acknowledge what we've done, our brains never register it. So we just keep kind of moving to the next thing, and it starts to feel like we're always working towards goals, but never actually achieving anything. What a bummer. The second thing is we have to try to detach from work fully. I know. Oh my gosh, impossible. And this one got me because sometimes I think that if I just close my office door and I walk away from my laptop or my computer, that that's just enough. That's detachment. But it's not. Because if you're like me and you're still checking your emails on your phone, or you're mentally running through your to-do list while you're resting, then you're not actually recovering. So studies show that if we don't mentally detach, stress actually just stays in our system, even when we're technically off. The third thing is your body and your brain need movement. So you got to move. You got to do something. You got to get outside, or that's what the research says. So this one kind of surprised me too, because movement isn't just about physical fitness. It's about how we reset our nervous system. So for me, that can be skiing, that's hiking, that's just being outside. Sometimes it's just gardening. And it's not just about burning calories, it's about having fun. And because afterwards, when you have fun doing it, you get recharged. So, a good question to ask yourself is, what is the type of movement that feels like play? And because that's kind of the key to having fun and moving and getting outside. And then the last thing is connection is a stress buffer. So this one is super huge. And I'll tell you why, is because a lot of times when we're exhausted or when I'm really tired, my instinct is to pull away from people. But the research actually shows that that's the worst thing we can do, because when we connect with people, you feel lighter and you feel better. So if you're feeling kind of burnout, call someone, go on a walk, laugh with a friend. It actually all works. And if you do it together, it's even better. So here's what I know. Quick action really works for me. And so when I really started to realize that I did not have a good recovery routine, I just went into quick action mode. So the first thing I did was I mentally celebrated my wins. So how much of what I just really thought to myself, how much of what I'm doing was a dream before, then now I'm actually getting to live, right? So celebrate and be in gratitude. The next thing I did is I went out and I went for a hike, which helps me really move my body. And I got to be outside in one of the most beautiful places. And then I texted a friend that I know always fills up my cup, and I set a coffee date. And so trying these things really actually worked for me this week. And that feeling of stress kind of has started to leave my body. And I've been able to kind of really continue to hit this week hard, knowing that at least I have a buffer for some recovery. And I can keep my momentum, my curiosity, and my creativity, because that's what's so important. So now I'm going to ask you the same question that my friend asked me. What do you do to recover? And if you don't have an answer, that's okay. I'm still learning too. But now's the time to figure it out. Pick one thing today, celebrate something, step outside, move your body, call a friend. Even the smallest shift adds up. And if you want to dive into the research behind all of this, I'll be linking some of those studies in this video description so that you can, if you're a deep dive kind of person like I am, definitely check that out. Let me know what you are going to be doing to build up your recovery routine. And I am so excited. I will see you next week for another Nat Chats. Have the best rest of your day.